Welcome back to the Padilla family homestead. We are away from the homestead. I actually recorded a clip of us leaving the homestead and all of that, explaining where we're going. And I can pop that in right here. Welcome back to the Padilla family homestead. We're not at home. We're on the road. So this is going to be a take along or a recap or a come spend the weekend with us. So it is Thursday, September 5th. So it's Thursday, September 5th right now. We are headed to Missouri. We are going to the Ozarks Homesteading Expo in Missouri. Tomorrow, so Friday and Saturday. There's a whole lineup of speakers, which we'll go over with you, who we're planning on seeing and learning from, and kind of why we made the decisions to see which speakers, because there's 4 for every time slot. So we're going to just take you along with us. But first, we got to get this 2-hour drive to Missouri done, and my husband's going to be recording some video. I'll be recording some. We're kind of seeing different people on a couple of them because we wanted to divide and conquer. But before we go out tomorrow, we'll make sure that we go over our schedule with you so you know who we're kind of planning on seeing, and we'll see what kind of footage that we can get. All right, we're at a stop for a second so my hubby can pay more attention. So are you excited?
Yes, I am.
So, who are you the most excited? What are you the most excited to learn? Is there anything in particular, or is there, is it just an overall anything?
It's just gonna be an experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see the pig butchering.
Mm-hmm.
See if I'm gonna be able to handle it. This is gonna be more of a learning experience.
This is gonna tell us if we're meant to raise pigs. Well, not
we can
necessarily raise pigs,
but butcher pigs.
But if we're going to be able to butcher pigs and also butchering chickens.
The other thing is I do want to meet some people that I've seen on TV, on YouTube.
That you've been watching on YouTube? Like Whispering Willow and...
Yeah, and then I get to ask about Too Plump to Hump shirts and sweatshirts.
So, years ago, Whispering Willow, they had this rabbit at their old property. I don't remember if it came to the new property or not. So they had this rabbit, and they were breeding rabbits for a period of time. And they had this sticker made because Nathan said that the rabbit was too plump to hump. And my husband got a kick out of it. So I got him that sticker.
Too plump to hump.
So I got him that sticker, and he's loved that saying ever since. He thinks it's funny. So yeah, that's what that's about. So I'm hoping to get some good footage. I do have my schedule. I can actually go through it right now. Or should I wait? Printed it out. All right, so Friday, let's start this right. 8 a.m., we're going to start with the live hog butchering with Brandon Sherd with Farmstead Meat Smith. And then at 10 a.m., we're going to go watch Life from Scratch with Farmhouse on Boone. And then at 12:30 on Friday, we are splitting up, and I'm going to go watch The Indispensable Dairy Cow by Sean and Beth Doherty. And Junior's going to go to Predator Management with Alan Horntagger Morris. Let's see, 2 p.m. we're going to go to Herbs for Man or Beast by Dr. Patrick Jones. He's a homegrown herbalist. And then at 3:30, we are going to go see Joel Salatin talk about heretics versus orthodoxy. I think they renamed that a little bit, but that's the one we're going to go see then. And then Saturday morning, we're starting at 8:30 a.m. in the morning with Joel Salatin doing chicken processing. And then at 10, we're splitting up because Junior's going to go watch...
We're splitting up.
Junior's going to go finish watching the hog processing with Brandon Sherd from Farmstead Meat Smith. And then I'm going to go watch Whispering Willow, Maximize Your Small Space Garden. You're not going to be there to ask him. Well, maybe he'll be there and be at the table, their table. At 12:30 on Saturday, we're going to go see From Suits to Soil, Kevin and Sarah at Living Traditions Homestead. This was a hard decision because we also wanted to go to glyphosates and GMOs with David Stelzer, that's Azure Standard. So that was hard, but we are doing From Suits to Soil. And then at 2 p.m., we're going to do Faith, Family, and Farm. It's a panel discussion, and right now it's listed as Joel Salatin, Lisa Bass, and the Dohertys. And then at 3:30, on Saturday, we are not picking somebody. We're making sure we have time to go kind of look at some of the shops, some of the tables and stuff. And then we'll see what else we get to look at and figure out. So that right now is the plan. So we'll take you along with us, but we're going to eat and hit the road.
Road again. Going back to the road again.
So we went to the Ozarks Homesteading Expo, and it was Friday and Saturday. Today is Saturday as I'm recording this, or we're recording this.
We went to see her dealers.
My dealers?
Yes, your
seed dealers and food dealers.
Food dealers. And the dealers you watch on TV every day through YouTube.
So, we had an amazing weekend, and we just got back to the hotel, and before too much time went by, we wanted to make sure we sat down and we recapped it. And in the middle of this recap, I will be talking about a few things and then popping in messages from different presenters and things like that. I took some clips of some of the presenters actually giving their speeches, and then other people I asked questions to, and I have those clips that we'll be adding in, but I'm going to kind of go through our day. So we had no idea what to expect. We've kind of seen some things on other homesteading events, and I wasn't sure what parking was going to be like. We weren't sure how many people went to this event. There was all kinds of stuff. We didn't know how big of a place it was, any of that. So we kind of went in really blind, and we left way too early in the morning from the hotel the first day.
Just say though, we're tired.
We're tired. We're very tired.
But it's worth it.
It was. So yesterday we left at like 5 o'clock in the morning from the hotel, and it's only half an hour away.
About.
So we got there like ridiculously early, sat in the car. The gates didn't even open till 7. I didn't know if there was going to be like a line of cars you needed to be in or not. Our first thing was at 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday. We watched Brandon Sherd do with Farmstead Meat Smith, and he killed the pig and did the scald and the scraping yesterday, and then
and sliced in half.
Yes, and we left before actually the decap and slice in half because it was running a little later and we needed to get to the next presentation. So that was the very first thing. That was 8 o'clock in the morning. I will have to say, for the first butchering we've been at, processing. I really respect his view, how he handles the situation, his respect for the animal, the overall just how everything's handled, and then how he uses all the pieces of meat. Now, I didn't go today, was his second part, and that's where they actually did the cuts and all of that. And he'll talk about that in a little bit. But for the first one where they did the kill, it was really well done. So I was all worried that we're going to be late. I will actually pop a couple of pictures and maybe a clip in here. YouTube doesn't allow a lot of things with that, so I may just do a couple of pictures here. It depends on what's showing on the clips that I have, but I'll pop those in right here.
Oh no. It will actually make it more difficult to get the hair off, and it will begin, so you'll have to scrape harder to get the bristles off, but because it's a little overcooked, the skin that you're scraping against is starting to melt, and you're like taking chunks of it off with your hot scraper. It's very Sisyphean, it is terrible. So I do everything I can to avoid that. This is looking pretty dang good. So technically it's 145 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is what is called the pig, which means you want the water a few degrees over that before you get the pig in there. Because through thermal displacement, it will actually drop the temp just a little bit. And that kind of subtlety is decisive. Like you'll notice, a perfect skull is real nice, and an imperfect skull is absolutely terrible. And so when I'm doing this, I have my thermometer, but then I also have my specially calibrated thermal displacement device, and I stir the barrel because it's warmer down here, or no, it's warmer up here than it is down there, and you get a more accurate reading of the temp. So I want it to be like 147, 148, somewhere in there. With 150 you'll be okay. But
so then the next thing we did, let's see, what was yesterday?
She got also to meet her I want to say bestie from distance, and
one of my favorite YouTubers.
Yeah.
So in the morning before, because we got there so early, we were in the gates at 7, and
she was stalking this person too.
I was not.
From a few days before, requesting items.
So the very first person we met at a table was Sean and Beth Doherty, and we got to talk to them a little bit one-on-one, and
she got her book.
Got to buy their book.
Got it signed.
It was on my Amazon wish list, and I got it there. Got it signed. I just love the wealth of knowledge, their approach. They're amazing. She was really neat to talk to. I did ask Beth if she has advice for anybody just starting out homesteading, and what that advice would be, and this is what she said.
Assuming they have land, yeah. Look at it, see what crop it's already growing. It's already growing something, unless it's a parking lot. Grass, weed, something. See what it's already growing. Bring in the ruminant that eats that. So goats eat briars, sheep eat tall weeds, cows eat grass, they all eat some of each, right? Okay. Bring in the animal that eats that and milk her. In 12 hours, your land is feeding you, is feeding your soil, is feeding your animal. You're Brilliant. A farmer in 12 hours. That's
I love
advice.
It. Thank you. Yeah. I loved that advice, and I thought it was very well worth sharing. They don't actually have a YouTube channel. No. They don't share anything on like that, so they have no problem with us sharing it, but so you could find stuff from them. They are a wealth of knowledge, and we'll go over a little bit more about their classes
so much
in a minute, but they are a wealth of knowledge. So we saw her at her table, and then went over and met Whispering Willow. So met Jill and Nathan. They were extremely down to earth, super nice. The girls were there. Little Ziggy was there. I had messaged ahead of time asking if they were bringing their morning harvest decaf coffee, and they said they would. So got that first thing in the morning.
I did ask for more to Plump Hump merch. They said it's not gonna happen, and I was very sad.
So got to meet them. We actually talked about all kinds of things. Homesteading, just living in Arkansas area, all kinds of stuff. I also asked Jill if starting out, what advice she would have, and she gave advice for starting out YouTube and for starting with homesteading. And so I'll pop her advice in right here.
All right, if you're starting out with YouTube, I would suggest consistency is key. Figure out a schedule that works for you. I think that's why we've been so successful, is because we've always showed up for our followers, because we treat them like they're our friends and family. And if you're not, lay that expectation out, right? If we're going to take a break, I tell my friends that, right?
Yep.
It's like, hey, I need a little bit of a break. We have this going on. But put yourself on a routine. I daily posted for years. That was not sustainable. So I moved to 3 days a week. In this season of life, 1 video a week is what I'm doing. So figure out what you can do. And if you can stick to that while you're figuring out everything else, I feel like it helps with the overwhelm. You build a consistent following and trust with your audience. So that would be my number one piece of advice.
Awesome. And how about for homesteading?
For homesteading, start small.
Okay.
That is definitely my biggest piece of advice. We're even in a season, right, where it's like, even though we preach that and teach that so much, we kind of went all in on certain things. We're having to scale back and be like, wow, in this season of life, can we manage all of this? And do we have to? The truth is, we don't have to. We can still provide for our family and scale back in a lot of ways. And so start small. Don't feel like you have to do it. What's the number one thing that can really help your family? If it's chickens, buy chickens. If it's a dairy cow, buy a dairy cow. If it's a garden, plant a garden. But don't think you have to buy chickens, get pigs, get a dairy car, manage a garden. Like, that's overwhelming even for a seasoned homesteader. And so start small, figure out what you need immediately, and then gradually build on that.
Awesome. So after that, we went and saw the butchering. And then our next class we went to was Lisa Bass from Farmhouse on Boone. And she did Life from Scratch. And she really went over different ways of not meal planning, but kind of just having key skills. Building your pantry to have your staples on hand.
I feel like it was day-to-day skills.
Correct. So like how to roast, how to use your, whether it's crock pot or
mainly how to use what you have in hand.
Correct.
And how to use it effectively, and how to rotate food around, and
not go off of recipes all the time, just using ingredients and techniques. And that was really good. I got a small clip of her talking. She was, again, very down to earth, very nice. She gave one of her spoilers, and her son was there. She's like, he's never gonna eat this again, and it was really funny. But it was really neat because I have followed her for a long time, and with her, I follow her and watch her for the recipes, the food, and the lifestyle. I just like her style of video. But I've also followed her on Facebook in her blogging group and her YouTube group, and learning some of the information that she has to share on how to be a content creator. So I really loved all of that, and being able to meet her and to learn from her was amazing.
They only use one time, and your plans may change. So you might be doing something that you weren't planning on doing, and then you are stuck with a bunch of food that you're not going to use. So we're going to talk about that. You can grab these slides over at bit.ly/Homestead Expo slides. Because in this presentation, I'm going to talk about grocery lists. I'm going to talk about sample schedules and what that might look like. And so instead of feeling like you need to jot that all down, you can grab these slides.
Okay, I would start with learning how to cook all the meats. So figuring out how to roast a chicken, cook a roast, those big cuts of meat that maybe you're scared of, start with those. How's that? Is that good?
From there, we really took a break and went around the shops.
Yeah, and we were thinking today was going to be the day of the shops, but we ended up doing the shops yesterday in between classes, which was neat. We got to see a lot of cool inventions that people do, cool ideas, things that we might want to get in the future.
So there's these cases, which I wish we could have gotten them right now. So there's these wooden crates that some have shallow fronts and some have taller ones, but they all have tall handles. They're wooden crates and they stack, and so you can put your canning jars inside.
Yeah. And
they're not stacked on top. You can do any size up to half gallon. Sorry, somebody was trying to get into the wrong hotel room. So those shelves are really cool. So you can stack your pints or your quarts put them into one layer, and then stack another crate on top and put them in there, and then you can have a tower of jars and be able to easily move them in and out, and not be stacking on top of each other. So we thought those were cool, especially for space saving, with not having a large pantry belt right now. But it wasn't something that we could pull the plug on and purchase. There was people doing blacksmithing. There was all kinds of demos. We didn't get to see them all. There was some kombucha and homemade crafts, and there was solar and people with little chicks, and there was another one we didn't buy that we wanted to.
There was a
Premier one was there.
And then there's people selling the chickshaws,
not chickshaws, but a different chicken, mobile chicken coop.
Mobile chicken coops, there you go.
So there was just all kinds around there. Sean from Mindful Farmer was there, selling his tools. Man, do I want some of his tools, but that's going to come in the future.
Also, they had really good food. They had goat ice cream.
Yeah, goat milk ice cream, and they actually had goat meat they were selling there.
They had a lot of barbecue
crepes. They had sourdough donuts cooked in tallow, and it was just really neat.
All natural. They didn't use seed oils. They used tallow, like you said. Yeah.
And then 4 jars was there. I did get a sleeve of canning lids and one of the jar openers, which I'm really excited about. So after break, we actually went and saw Sean and Beth Doherty talk about the indispensable dairy cow. And I feel like after that talk, they actually brought a cow in, and I mean, this cow was so docile. It was kind of funny. It was just a, what do you call it, kitty cat?
Well, they called it a
pussy cat.
Because it has to be gentle in order for you to be able to milk it and do a lot of things to it.
So
and be around people. And one of the biggest things is no cows with horns.
They don't like cows with horns. But we learned a lot from them. I will pop in a little clip here. I didn't take very much video. We were further back. But I can pop in a little clip here.
Thrilled to be here. We're back closer to home. I grew up in Oklahoma. Beth grew up in Texas. So we're thrilled to be closer. And we want to help you. So when you have questions, the first thing you can do is we're at a little booth right over there. So you can come over and talk to us and ask us any questions that you have about your farm. other thing is we are available on email. Don't call us. We're not very good at that. But we are available on email. So if you have a problem you're going through and you're starting to farm and you run into a problem with your cat or you run into a problem, email us. Read our books first, read our families first, then call us, because we want you to make this work. It is so disappointing to us when somebody says, oh yeah, I did it for a little bit and it just was too hard. And we say, no, there are ways to make this work. Okay? So that's what we are about. We're, as I mentioned, in Ohio. We also farm a Franciscan convent about a mile and a half up the road. That's where our cows primarily are and our gardens. And we think that owning land is way overrated. Okay, so when you can't afford land, you start exploring people who are not using their land, and you say to them, how about if I work on your property? So that's one of the things that we've been able to do.
Then with everything they talked about and then what she talked about before, I think that whenever we buy, we are going to really look at what we have already growing that can naturally feed whatever it is that we need to get animal-wise.
If it's overgrown with really bad stuff, get a goat.
Briars.
And then send the goat. Sell the goats. And then get a cow. And then chickens. That's my idea.
That's his idea.
I'm not saying that's what she wants. She wants chickens first.
I think so. But I'm not as worried about a dairy cow. I actually like hearing what they've talked about and kind of talking to the fencing person as well. Like, they're actually easier to contain and easier to work with.
Yeah, than goats, yeah.
Than a goat or a sheep or another option that's a different type. So their talk was great. We learned a whole lot from them. We were going to go to Herbs for Man and Beast by Dr. Patrick Jones, the homegrown herbalist, after that, and we didn't. We were exhausted. We ended up
we were there
eating
early. And then we came back and it was like 6, 7 o'clock.
Well, we still had one more class, but we needed to eat and we needed to just woosah. So we took a little bit of a break and then we went to see Joel Salatin speak. And he spoke on heresy or orthodoxy versus heresy. And I have heard little bits about him, and I have one of his books that I haven't finished reading yet. I was listening to an audiobook by him, and I love the way he talks and his story tells and the information he gets across, and he makes you think. He really makes you think. And one of his big things was there are a lot of people who are called heretics before that thought that the earth was round, that things like that, like where they were right, but the world thought they were crazy, right?
Everybody else thought the world was flat.
And so now we can look back and see that, right?
Those guys are brilliant.
So, but in their time, they were not looked at that way. And so, what are people 200 years from now going to look back and say about us and our generation? And who's going to be that person who is standing up for what is right and what is truth and all of that? And so, it was a really, really good talk. So we did record some from him, and I'm going to pop that clip in right here.
All the science of epigenetics, which is the study of the trade-offs, the commerce, the relationships of the genetic material. You mean these things actually make decisions? They're not just plug and play, stick them in and stick them out like parts on a car? Yeah, that's the truth. There are a lot of things like that. You know, there's a big difference between mechanics and biology. In mechanics, if I'm going down the road and suddenly my right front wheel bearing goes out and I'm thump, 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 you know, ooh, boy, better stop here. I go around to that wheel bearing. Oh, I'm so sorry I didn't lubricate you. Would you forgive me? Do you need a half an hour to rest? You know, kind of recuperate. You can do all the stuff that you want to. You get back in the car and go. What are you going to have? Thump, 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 right? But biological systems, I mean, I got a couple skin spots on my hands, and I got hit my fingernail on the sawmill the other day, and you know, I can give that some rest and a little bit of salve and some TLC, and I get new cells, new structure. I can go to my beloved wife of 44 years that I've just said an unfit word to, and she's a little bit miffed. Forgive me, and she can forgive me, and we can be in as love as we were 44 years ago. Just like that. That's life. That's biology. Okay? That's all it is. I mean, for decades we've been told that the soil is basically just a medium to hold up a plant that we then IV chemicals into, you know? I mean, Sir Albert Howard, godfather of modern composting, said, our problem is that when we see life as fundamentally artificial, we create artificial soils with artificial inputs. That's what he called chemical fertilizer. He called it artificial. He called them artificial manures. Okay, that's what he called them. He said when we inject the soil with artificial manure, it makes artificial soil, which grows artificial plants, which makes artificial animals. That when we eat the artificial plants and the artificial animals, it makes artificial people that can only be kept alive with artificials. Wow. And this was written in 1950. Okay? We've got fake meat, laboratory made, you know, mechanical. The idea that you can have life without sacrifice is a fundamental assault against the creative capacity of biology. You have life, death, decomposition, regeneration, life, death, decomposition, regeneration. All these people that say we need to be vegans. Sorry if you're any vegans here. I've got some bacon for you if you want to see me afterwards. But the whole idea that we can have life without killing something, and now we know that plants talk. I mean, maple trees, sugar maple trees in the spring, when you tap them for maple to get sap out of them, if a heavy wind comes up, the tree stops giving sap. Why? Because it's afraid if a branch breaks off.
And then we also asked him the same question, and if you were starting out, what advice would you give? And I loved his advice, and you can hear that here.
The important thing you can do is for you and your significant other to be on the same page. The most common failure is when you don't share the same plan, the same goals, the same whatever objective, and so you got to decide: are we really into this? Are we on board? And are you together on it? And if you can do that, then when he has a bad day, he'll lift him up. If she has a bad day, he'll lift her up. Teresa and I have talked about this a lot, that throughout our career, our years, we've never both been down on the same day. And that's really important, because when you're out here doing this, it's lonely. You know, you're just out there with the pigs or the tomatoes or the whatever it is. and that encouragement from a partner is a big deal.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So then that night, they were showing the preview or screening of the Angel Studio show Homestead. It wasn't going to happen till after dark though, and we were wiped. We weren't going to make it. If we were going to make it today, we were not going to be able to go last night to the movie. So we came back to the hotel. I think I was asleep by 8. Like, I was out. I was so tired. Yeah. So, we did not go see that, which is a bummer. But in December, that'll come out. I guess it's going to be a series. And so that'll be cool. Today, though, we got up. We got there a little bit later, and we were totally fine. So we got to sleep in more. My husband was happy.
A little bit happier. Could use some more, but that's fine.
So this morning we started off with another butchery, basically, and it was chicken processing with Joel Salatin. And again, I'm very thankful we went and watched him. And what was that company's feather something? They used all their products.
Yeah. So he was very he was able to teach us how he butchers and why he butchers, because the way you do the step by step, it's very efficient, and you have very little loss when it comes to butchering and trying to clean, and you have very loss of product that you can actually consume. So it was really neat to see how it went from chickens being put in the combs, slit, to blanching. I think it's called blanching, right?
He called it blanching, but
to where you put it in the hot water, to where the
this is scalding,
to where the feathers loosen up, and then you put it in the tumbler. I believe it's a tumbler, to where the feathers fall off, and then you take it out, and it's very few little things, the pin feathers you have left. So you clean that up, and then you put it on a table, and the next step was to pull the head off, because if you pull the head off, you're not losing the neck.
Featherman,
yeah.
Featherman Equipment is who I was looking in our little thing.
Yeah. So they were using Featherman equipment for the showcase.
So they did the first few where they walked you through the whole process, and then for the last few, they actually called all the kids up. And actually had them pull the chicken heads off and help get all the guts out and things like that. And then we were able to go up and really ask questions and see where they actually, like up close, where they slit the chicken's neck, and how the process worked and all of that. Which was really neat to be able to get up closer and see. Again, I'm not going to be able to share a whole lot from this. I think I'll be able to share a couple of pictures with strategically placed text. But it was a really neat experience. We walked out of that going, we can do this.
Yeah. Definitely.
I was a little nervous. Like, I really wanted to do it, and I've been talking about wanting chickens and meat chickens, and I'm like, what if I puke? What if I cry? Like, what if I can't handle this? And so we left there feeling very confident that this is something that we could do.
The idea, just like the other butcher person, Joel really mentioned that the chicken, the end of their life is at the butchery. that's the complete cycle, because if you look at it like that,
If you're honoring their life is when they're alive.
Yeah.
And how they live.
And how they live. So you treat them good, you feed them good, you water them good, you let them walk on the grass and eat grass and all that stuff. They live the perfect life to get to this end point, which is the butchery table.
Mm-hmm. To be able to provide.
Yeah. And
that's what kind of Joel was like, we don't honor in death, we honor through their life, because they get to live a good life out in the sun and all these things. And Vernon Shirt said, so when he was doing the pig, was the fact that this isn't stopping their fulfillment of their life. They're actually, as harvesting them and eating them is fulfilling their purpose in life. And so it was really neat. And I think we both feel confident that meat chickens will be on the list. I think we both want equipment, but we'll see if that happens right off the bat. But meat chickens will be in our future. So and it was just neat.
Everybody knows that Joel is a pretty good speaker and you know, a pretty well-established writer. 16 books. He writes 5 different columns like weekly. I mean, all he does is write. But what he does best is this. There's nobody better than Joel at taking a chicken apart, pulling it inside out. And we love to do this show. We've been doing it for quite a few years, and we've had wonderful feedback, and we hope you all, continue in that tradition, and we want you to be successful. So we have some beautiful birds here. We have 16 of them. Our plan is to, go through what we call the dirty side, which includes my equipment. This is what you're seeing here is what we call a Featherman setup special with a rotodunker. And you'll see what the rotodunker does here in a minute. And this is like a $5,300 investment, and you can come see it up here or over at our booth. But we'll also tell you how to do this for nothing but a crawdad fryer, for a burner. You can do this on a small scale. This is just what allows us to do it with less pain.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, we did this with a wood fire. I mean, we had electricity back then, but
09.
we had a wood fire and a thermometer and a little 40-year-old tabletop picker. You had chicken on.
Drum roller.
Yeah. That was my best advertisement as we got started. We had this. I bought it when I was about 16, and had this little tabletop. And as we started with the broilers, went from layers to broilers. We were breasting more chickens, and so we upgraded to an automatic picker, and that made this one redundant. We didn't need it, and people started finding out about this chicken thing, and they'd come around in the community and could I sure go ahead. In fact, I've got an old picker here. I'll give you, and all I ask is if you ever quit, just bring it back. And we had several people take me up on the offer, do it for 2 years, bring it back, too much work, and they brought their 20 customers to us. It was the best advertising we ever did. So the whole idea here is to make this experience enjoyable, so that your friends and family will want to do it with you again. If this is a huge pain, you will wear out your health really quick. Okay, so a little bit of equipment makes a big difference.
And in the vein of community, one of the things that Featherman does, and I'm really pleased with, is we offer free rentals. If anybody buys our equipment, Courtney, my niece, the office gal, says, please go to our rental page and put all your information on there. It's free. And then if people are starting up and don't have equipment yet, they can rent it from you and give it a try and see if it's for them. And it's another income stream for them and a win-win. So Some of you might be in a position to just go to Featherman, and one of the top menu items is our rental page.
So the stations, there are basically 4 stations. This is the Wheel of Fortune,
which Joel said we need a Lazy Susan kill station. He and one other guy, and so we did it.
Yeah.
We did what Joel says.
This is the sauna. This is the sauna. This is the relaxation chamber. Ultimate chiropractic. The ultimate adjustment.
Oh no. You've been working on your lines.
And this is the surgery. Surgery. And we have never had a patient go through our surgery who was ever sick another day in their life. We guarantee a forever cure right here on our surgery. So, with that in mind, we very much kind of start with an appreciation that this is for folks who have never slaughtered animals before. We run into many of them, and it's a bit of a shock, and we recognize that. We understand that. We also very much appreciate that we're taking a life, and this life, the way we make this sacrifice, either sacred or sacrilege, is the honor that was bestowed on the life during life. There's nothing sacred about butchering a Tyson chicken. They're just glad to be put out of their misery. But when you take a chicken that's been raised on pasture, to be able to see the sunrise and see the sunset, and chase some worms and chase some bugs, and actually have a life that honors the chickenness of the chicken, that brings to this place a place of sacredness. And so we honor that as we go forward. So, David, you want to walk them through?
What you need in advance, of course, is your well-raised chickens, and take them off feed by noon the day before.
They need to be off feed for up to 24 hours prior to slaughter, so that their GI tract and everything and their crop can all clean out. Otherwise, this is going to be mess. This is going to be a real mess.
You don't do that. Make that mistake twice. Bring them close to the homes so they don't have to be carried. This is going to be an experiment for us. I've never used I'd like to go through. I have a lot to do yet. Yeah, we're going to figure this out. I think we can open the top, but get crates that you can work with. Hang on, Joel. So, are you just going to hold them?
What?
I'm not at all ready yet.
Oh, okay. I'll just
Joel just likes to hold chickens. It's true.
So the official way to hold a chicken, if you've ever wanted to know how to hold a chicken, is you put your middle finger between their legs, and you let their heel bone rest in the palm of your hand, and that way you can move them around, you can turn them upside down, you can look at them, and they are actually very, very comfortable. And if they want to start scratching, they're just scratching the wind. People try to hold them like this up against them, and then they're scratching against your clothes and your belt and all this, and it's really awkward. But if you hold them out here, they're really content. It's easy, and everywhere you turn them, if they poop, it's away from you. Okay?
And they don't steal covers in the night like a dog, right?
Yeah, no, they're pretty chill. All right, I'll just hold this while you get ready.
I've got up here all the things you need to have ready. A good sharp knife is absolutely prerequisite, and we've got some brand new Victorinox knives. They're $27. We have a supply of them for almost everybody. You need some vegetable oil, and we're going to pollute everything up here with vegetable oil because that makes blood cleanup easy. That's another mistake you don't make twice. Blood is really hard to get off stainless steel. You need some detergent. We're going to put that in the scald room. We'll tell you why we do that in a little bit, but I'm going to get this started going here.
You don't eat vegetable oil, but you do use it for your cut. So we still need vegetable oil. We still need to grow some soybeans and stuff, in order to.
Yeah.
Canola.
You really can't put too much of this on.
Diesel fuel.
Whoever has to clean this up, God, I hope it's not me. Yeah, you might have to clean this up, sir.